Joining us from Uyo, Akwa Ibom, Nigeria, is a presenter for sports with Excel FM. Akila Matawa joins us this morning. Good morning to you and welcome to In the Game.
It's a pleasure joining you.
All right, thank you very much for joining us. You were at the stadium, the Next of Champions, witness Nigeria defeat Benin Republic in a very good fashion. What would you say is your take on the game, knowing fully well that this is Nigeria's first competitive win since the AFCON?
Well, convincing, like you have rightly pointed out. I think it was a day that Nigerians were hoping the team can get back on track after so many disappointing results. You know, for a team like Nigeria, three-time champions of Africa, finalists at the last AFCON, the expectations in this team have always been very high. And the fact that you parade some of the best players on the continent of Africa, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Bundesliga winner in Victor Boniface, Wilfred Ndidi, who helped Leicester City regain promotion to the Premier League in England. And there are so many other players, William Trust Ekong, most valuable player of the last AFCON. So it's a team that's not shy of quality. The quality is there. Talking about so many stars in one team on the continent of Africa, Nigeria has to be up there. Maybe those who can come close to Nigeria in terms of quality should be teams like Senegal, teams like Morocco. But Nigeria is shoulders above many teams on the continent of Africa. So I am sure that these players know the responsibility that they have. And after disappointing in the qualifiers for the World Cup, 4 games without a win, 3 draws, 1 loss to this very team, Benin Republic, last time out. They came into the game yesterday knowing that they had to make a statement. They knew that somehow regaining their image was at stake, and they showed that yesterday from the blast of the whistle. The calmness yesterday was something else. It was second to none. They took the keep possession, pass the ball around, look for those opportunities and try to attack. And even when the goals were not forthcoming, the players were still calm. Ndidi in midfield was the controller for them. He was the maestro. He was dictating play. Alex Iwobi as well was doing his thing. Bruno Onyemaechi on the left. And the 3-man backline of Calvin Bassey, William Trust Ekong, as well as Semi Ajayi were doing their job. Everybody was sticking to the game plan. And most notably, many may not have seen the impact of Victor Boniface in that game. But I tell you, for someone who was playing up front, when he didn't have the ball, because there were no much supplies, most of the passes from the midfielders were either to Samuel Chukwueze on the right or Ademola Lookman on the left. What Victor Boniface did yesterday was to drop deep yesterday, join in the link-up play, pass to Wilfred Ndidi, link up and try to move forward. So he contributed so much in midfield yesterday. Yes, he was playing as an attacker, but he was able to get involved in that play yesterday to open up space for Chukwueze and Lookman on the other side. So dominant performance from Nigeria. Yes, a few chances in the first half. They didn't make them count. In fact, Benin Republic hardly threatened yesterday. They had just 1 chance in the first half, which was the free kick that Stanley Wabali was equal to the task to get away. But Nigeria, due to that patience, it paid off in the closing embers of the first half. Ademola Lookman, of course, with that amazing run into the box, taking off everybody on his way and slotting that in. And then the 2 goals in the second half as well. And icing on the cake, Victor Osimhen coming back. In fact, when he began to warm up, the whole stadium was in raptures. Everybody was cheering him on. Everybody was mentioning his name. They were waiting to see him come on. And what an introduction yesterday, getting the goal. Lookman as well, sealing off an amazing performance with that second goal. 3-0 victory for Nigeria. I think it's the brightest ever start that Austin Eguavoen might have hoped for. And at this point, I think the NFF has no choice than to give him more time to continue with the team. But there's another game on Tuesday against Rwanda, and hopefully they take this momentum into the next game. But outstanding performance on the day, packed full arena, and the support was massive as well.
All right, you just talked about my next question now. If Augustin Eguavoen should be allowed to continue, but you've just given us a hint that you would love him to continue. Let's talk about the support we heard that the gates were later thrown open as a result of low turnouts on people who got tickets. But let's look at that angle, the supportership from fans and lovers who wants to watch the Super Eagles of Nigeria. What do you think can be done further to encourage them to come out in mass instead of having to throw the gates open like the usual situation? We know it was not same in the past, but these days we have low turnout of fans come out to watch the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And not forgetting also for Eguavoen, he has another game ahead should he be allowed to continue with his assistants, Daniel Ogumodede and Fidelis Ilechukwu.
Well, just to clear the air, favor, it wasn't a poor turnout at all. The issue most times is the uncertainty around what we've seen reoccur at the Nest of Champions. People buy tickets and, minutes before games or maybe an hour before the game, the gates are thrown open. So everybody keeps waiting and see, okay, let's see. Closer to the game, will the gates be thrown open? I went into the arena some minutes past 4 yesterday. And I tell you because, of course, the arena around there, you have to pick a bike that gets you to the stadium. In fact, the bike could not get closer to the gate. We had to drop far off and trek down to the stadium because there was a large number of people who were coming into the stadium. Yes, many of them had their tickets. Others didn't have, but they were waiting to see that last minute. Was there going to be a change of mind or whatever? So I think the turnout was very massive yesterday. And even if they had stuck to the fact that you have to buy tickets, there were people selling tickets around the stadium and they were going to get those tickets to go into the stadium. So the turnout wasn't poor at all. In fact, when I got there, it was just around that moment that the gates were thrown open. But going into the stadium, there was a good number already in the stadium, maybe around 10,000 already seated, with their tickets gotten. So I think the turnout wasn't bad, but I think the uncertainty somehow around ticketing is what keeps these fans apprehensive. They are waiting to see the next move and all of that. And that's something that the NFF and the Akwa Ibom State government and the Akwa Ibom State Football Association...
So it's not about the hardship. It's not about the hardship of Nigeria at the moment, the hardship witnessed in Nigeria or the first situation. It's not that, right?
It's not at all. It's not. Okay. In fact, when I was coming down to the stadium, there were many people who were trekking joyfully, wow, talking to their friends, laughing around and just strolling into the arena to watch the Super Eagles. So I think even after the game, when I was returning, there were people trekking far distances just to get back to their destination. And with the win, they were doing that joyfully and happily. So I think this love for football in this nation and the Super Eagles continue to be that brand that bring fans together. And regardless of the condition in the country or whatever, people are willing to spend their money to go to the stadium to watch. People are willing to buy these tickets to watch. People are willing as well to trek distances just to see the Super Eagles of Nigeria play. So I think it's not a question of, low turnout or whatever. We had a good number at the stadium yesterday. In fact, some of the fans even decided to stand, even when there were seats for them to sit down. And the Super Eagles, of course, gave joy to the fans yesterday, and everything panned out well. And to your second question about Austin Eguavoen, I think, like some of us have shared in some platforms, in all of the moments he's been coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, his team has always played well. You talk about 2006, the Africa Cup of Nations, where Nigeria won a bronze medal back in the days, defeating Senegal 1-0 in the third place playoff. I think John Utaka with the goal at the time. The Super Eagles played well, defeated a team like Tunisia in the quarterfinal, getting into the semi-final of that tournament before eventually losing it to Cote d'Ivoire. I think it was Didier Drogba's goal at the time. And you look at the Super Eagles under him. They've always played good football, even at the last AFCON that he took us to in Cameroon, the 2021 edition, even though it held in 2022. In the 3 games we played in the group stage, of course, 3/3 wins. We defeated even Egypt in that group, defeated Guinea-Bissau, I think, got another victory as well in that group. It was total football. The team played really well. And even in the last 16 against Tunisia, where we were a man down when Alex Iwobi was sent off in the game, Nigeria still held on to possession. So I think he's a manager who understands the game. Like he has always said, he envies Pep Guardiola and his style of play, dominating possession. That is what they showed yesterday. They give you that beautiful football. And these wins, sometimes come, sometimes they do not come. And if you look at his record with the Nigerian national team, I think he's lost only 3 games. So I think he's a fantastic manager. Sometimes he doesn't get lucky enough, like the last time against Ghana in Abuja. We didn't play badly in the qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup, but we lost it in the end through the away goal. So in my opinion, with this perfect start to the campaign of the qualification for the Africa Cup of Nations, he should be given some more time. Of course, he will lead the team against Rwanda on Tuesday. Let's see what comes of that game. But I think there's so many changes that we do at most times. Sometimes we have to be patient. You can fail to qualify for a tournament, but trust the manager to continue, give him time. and we get to see what happens.
All right, I must say a very big thank you to you, Akila Matawal. I was thinking you'll be part of those that will go to church for Thanksgiving, but I guess your Thanksgiving comes later during the day. Well, thank you very much for your time. We hope to also smile after Tuesday's game against Rwanda in Kigali. Thank you very much.
Hopefully. Thank you so much, Favor.